The condition that causes whip or locking in a brake system is A. Overheating of the fluid due to frequent brake application. B. Overcooling of the brakes during high-speed driving. C. Keeping the vehicle without use for an extended period. D. An excessively high engine speed on a downhill road. The correct answer is overheating of the fluid due to frequent brake application. The portion of a crankshaft which rests on cylinder block is called majornal. A. Yes. B. No. C. D. The correct answer is yes. A baffle plate is fitted inside the oil pan to prevent the oil from splashing when it is subjected to vibration and other movement during vehicle operation. A. True. B. False. C. D. The correct answer is true. The motion of the cam is transferred to the valves through A. Pistons. B. Rocker arms. C. Camshaft pulley. D. Valve stems. The correct answer is rocker arms. Which of the following symptom is caused as a result of brake disc run out? A. Ineffectiveness of the brakes. B. Judder during braking. C. Localized wearing of the brake pads. D. Rapid wearing of the brake pads. The correct answer is judder during braking. If the engine coolant leaks into the engine oil, then engine oil A. appears milky. B. becomes foamy. C. turns black. D. none of these. The correct answer is appears milky. The function of an alternator in an automobile is to A. supply electric power. B. convert mechanical energy into electrical energy. C. continually recharge the battery. D. partly convert engine power into electric power. The correct answer is continually recharge the battery. A clutch is usually designed to transmit maximum torque, which is A. equal to the maximum engine torque. B. 80% of the maximum engine torque. C. 150% of the maximum engine torque. D. none of these. The correct answer is 150% of the maximum engine torque. What type of bearing is used for main bearings and connecting rod bearings? A. ball bearings. B. plain bearings. C. needle roller bearing. D. taper roller bearing. The correct answer is plain bearings. It is necessary to maintain the valve clearances as they A. reduce the resistance to sliding that occurs between the cam and the tappet. B. allow for lengthening of the valves owing to the heat of combustion. C. increase the speed at which the valves move up and down. D. make the crankshaft turn smoothly. The correct answer is allow for lengthening of the valves owing to the heat of combustion. Incorrect steering axis inclination SAI causes A. tendency to assume toe-out orientation. B. generation of a braking effect at tight corners. C. poor recovery of the steering wheel after making a turn. D. the vehicle to pull to the side of lesser inclination. The correct answer is poor recovery of the steering wheel after making a turn. In a unit-type body frameless body design, the sheet metal parts are welded together forming a framework to which outer skin is attached. A. true. B. false. C. D. The correct answer is true. The torque available at the contact between driving wheels and road is known as A. brake effort. B. tractive effort. C. clutch effort. D. none of these. The correct answer is tractive effort. A traction control system TCS in automobiles controls the A. vibrations on the steering wheel. B. engine power during acceleration. C. torque that is transmitted by the tires to the road surface. D. stopping distance in case of emergency. The correct answer is Torque that is transmitted by the tires to the road surface. In radial tires, a one-ply layer runs diagonally one way and another layer runs diagonally the other way. B. All plies run parallel to one another and vertical to tire bead. C. Inner tubes are always used. D. None of these. The correct answer is all plies run parallel to one another and vertical to tire bead. The oil pump is driven by the A. camshaft, B. alternator shaft, C. crankshaft via drive belt, D. crankshaft directly. The correct answer is crankshaft directly. In a spark plug, when the temperature of the central electrode exceeds a certain temperature, any carbon that has adhered will be burnt off, and the temperature at which this burning of carbon starts is referred to as the self-cleaning temperature. A. correct, B. incorrect, C. D. The correct answer is correct. The flywheel and the pressure plate bind the clutch disc between them so that the engine and the transmission can be engaged. A. yes, B. no, C. D. The correct answer is yes. The vehicle ride will be comfortable if A. unsprung mass is kept minimum, B. sprung mass is kept minimum, C. vehicle mass is kept minimum, D. all of these. The correct answer is unsprung mass is kept minimum. The main function of intake manifold is that it A. promotes the mixture of air and fuel, B. reduces intake noise, C. cools the intake air to a suitable temperature, D. distributes intake air equally to the cylinders. The correct answer is distributes intake air equally to the cylinders. Positive camber is used to compensate for wheels tilting inward due to the weight of the vehicle. A. yes, B. no, C. D. The correct answer is yes. In automobiles, GVW refers to A. gross vehicle width, B. gross vehicle weight, C. gross vehicle wheelbase, D. gross vehicle wheel track. The correct answer is gross vehicle weight. The firing order for an inline 4-cylinder IC engine is A. 1234, B. 1342, C. 1243, D. 1324. The correct answer is 1342. In a ventilated disc brake, A duct directs air towards the caliper for cooling while the vehicle is moving. B. caliper is covered with cooling fins. C. disc contains many small holes for optimum cooling performance. D. disc contains radial vanes between its rubbing surfaces for optimum cooling performance. The correct answer is disc contains radial vanes between its rubbing surfaces for optimum cooling performance. The effect of having excess camber is A. excessive steering alignment torque, B. hard steering, C. too much traction, D. uneven tire wear. The correct answer is uneven tire wear. If the air-fuel mixture in a spark ignition engine is too rich, then air-fuel ratio is about A. 17:1, B. 15:1, C. 13:1, D. 10:1. The correct answer is 10:1. The advantage of double wishbone suspension design is that a large amount of freedom is available for setting geometry, and precise settings can be made for driving comfort and steerability. A. correct, B. incorrect, C. D. The correct answer is correct. The coefficient of rolling resistance for a truck weighing 63,500 N is 0.018. The rolling resistance to the truck is A. 1.143 N, B. 11.43 N, C. 114.3 N, D. 1143 N. The correct answer is 1143 N. If the level of tension in the belt is too high, it can result in a loss of power or in bending of the rotating shaft or crankshaft. A. Correct. B. Incorrect. C. D. The correct answer is correct. If the air-fuel mixture ignites before the spark takes place at spark plug, the condition is called A. Detonation, B. Ignition, C. Pre-ignition, D. Rumble. The correct answer is pre-ignition. The information provided by the oxygen O2 sensor to the feedback control system is about the A. Air-fuel ratio, B. Air temperature, C. Airflow speed, D. Exhaust gas volume. The correct answer is air-fuel ratio. The diagram which shows the correct crank positions corresponding to the opening and closing of the valves is known as A. Indicator diagram, B. Axial force diagram, C. Valve timing diagram, D. None of these. The correct answer is valve timing diagram. The difference between .3 and .4 brake fluids is A. .4 fluid has a higher boiling point than .3 fluid. B. .4 fluid has a lower boiling point than .3 fluid. C. .3 and .4 fluids have the same boiling point, but .4 fluid has a longer service life. D. .4 fluid is more resistant to freezing than .3 fluid. The correct answer is .4 fluid has a higher boiling point than .3 fluid. The battery is an electrochemical device, which means battery A. makes chemicals by mechanical means, B. uses chemical action to provide electricity, C. has curved plates instead of flat plates, D. does not use an electrolyte. The correct answer is uses chemical action to provide electricity. The operation of removing trapped air from the hydraulic braking system is known as A. trapping, B. tapping, C. bleeding, D. cleaning. The correct answer is bleeding. The aluminium alloy is used in cylinder blocks because A. it is lighter and have good heat dissipation characteristics, B. material cost is low, C. it does not require any cylinder liners, D. the piston is also made of aluminium alloy. The correct answer is it is lighter and have good heat dissipation characteristics. In a fuel injection system, the electronic control module ECM calculates the optimum fuel injection volume for the engine condition based on the data received from the sensors and injects this volume of fuel into the intake manifold at the optimum timing. A. correct, B. incorrect, C. D. The correct answer is correct. The tilting of the front wheels away from the vertical when viewed from the front of the car is called A. camber, B. caster, C. toe in, D. toe out. The correct answer is camber. The main function of the tread pattern on tire is that other tread grooves pass air between the tire and road surface, thereby preventing tire from overheating. B. the crests between the tread grooves absorb road noise. C. in wet conditions the tread grooves expel water that is drawn between the tire and road surface. D. the tread pattern protects the tire's inner carcass from small stones and pieces of glass. The correct answer is in wet conditions the tread grooves expel water that is drawn between the tire and road surface. The compression ratio in petrol engine is kept less than in diesel engine because A. it makes petrol engines lighter, B. higher or equivalent compression ratio in petrol engines is not possible due to pre-ignition, C. less compression ratio gives better performance, D. it is just customary to have less compression ratio in petrol engines. The correct answer is higher or equivalent compression ratio in petrol engines is not possible due to pre-ignition. The most commonly used supplementary restraint system SRS component is A. Seat belt, B. Brake, C. Airbag, D. Steering. The correct answer is airbag. The natural gas is compressed in a CNG cylinder at a pressure of A. 200 bar, B. 220 bar, C. 250 bar, D. 300 bar. The correct answer is 200 bar. The cetane rating of diesel fuel is in the order of A. 25, B. 45, C. 70, D. 90. The correct answer is 45. The air gap between the central electrode and ground or side electrode of a spark plug is around A. 0.2 mm, B. 0.5 mm, C. 1 mm, D. 1.5 mm. The correct answer is 1 mm. The cetane number of a diesel fuel is a measure of A. Volatility, B. Viscosity, C. Ignition quality, D. Delay period. The correct answer is delay period. The valve overlap in 4-stroke petrol engines is approximately A. 30, B. 60, C. 90, D. 120. The correct answer is 30. The petrol engines are also known as A. Spark ignition SI engines, B. Compression ignition CI engines, C. Steam engines, D. None of these. The correct answer is spark ignition SI engines. Which of the following indicates a multigrade oil? A. SAE 30, B. API SF, C. SAE 20 watts 50, D. API 50. The correct answer is SAE 20 watts 50. The coefficient of friction for the clutch facing is approximately A. 0.1, B. 0.4, C. 0.8, D. 1.2. The correct answer is 0.4. The component that connects the steering rack to the knuckles is A. tie rod, B. sector gear, C. pivot, D. spline. The correct answer is tie rod.